the reason why we decided to take suo motu cognizance, we are conscious of the fact that the High Court was entertaining a petition which was filed by the petitioners who are here before us, is because this is really now not just a matter relating to a particular murder which takes place in a hospital in Kolkata, which is horrific in the nature of the crime, but it raises systemic issues in regard to the safety of doctors. First, on matters of safety, we are deeply concerned about the fact that there is a virtual absence of safe conditions of work for young doctors across the country, particularly in public hospitals. As we know, these are all young interns, they are residents, senior residents, doctors, and most importantly, women doctors.
Yes.
We find that there are no duty rooms available, no separate restrooms or duty rooms available for men and women doctors, for the other nursing staff, for the paramedical staff who are also on duty. And therefore, we must evolve a national consensus to ensure that there must be a standard national protocol to ensure that safe conditions of work are provided. This is not a matter of providing protection either to women or protection to doctors in general. It's a matter of creating safe conditions of work so that they ultimately, what is equality under the Constitution all about? If women cannot go to a place of work and be safe, then we are denying them the basic conditions of equality. And therefore, we are entertaining this, and I'll very shortly share the way we want to proceed with this to ensure that ultimately, it's not that every time that there is a rape or murder that the conscience of the nation is awakened. We have to do something right here and now to ensure that these conditions of safety are maintained in terms of protocols which will not just be on paper, but protocols which will be enforced across India. We are deeply concerned of the fact that the name of the deceased who was assaulted and murdered, the name has been published all over the media. Photographs have been published all over the media. Video clips, obviously, either before or after the postmortem, have been published, showing her body, after she was subjected to it. It's extremely concerning. We are the first to recognize the right to free speech, but there are well-settled parameters.
Your Lordships, before the police reached, photos were taken and these were circulated. We didn't allow anything to happen. We cordoned off the area.
Crime was detected in the early hours of the morning.
Yes.
After the crime was detected in the early hours of the morning, the principal of the hospital tries to pass this off as a suicide.
Not true.
Her parents are not allowed to see the body.
No, Malad, I'm sorry. Anyway, Malad, this is the impression.
Our investigation
We'll have to place the facts before your Lordships. We have investigated that.
Until late night, we find that no FIR was registered.
That's also not correct. Unnatural death case registered. Inquest was done and then FIR registered immediately and the investigation started.
What does the FIR say that this is a case of a murder?
Inquest shows it's a case of murder, Malad.
Until the night, no FIR indicating that this is a clear case of a murder has been made out. The hospital is invaded and the critical facilities are damaged in the morning or whenever the mob enters. What was the police doing after the principal resigns from this medical? He's appointed as a principal somewhere else. We would want the investigation has been handed over to the Bureau of Investigation. CBI to file a status report before this court on Thursday.
Correct.
Today, what we intend to do is we are setting up under the authority of this court a national task force. The national task force will consist of a diverse segment of doctors from different parts of the country. We want them to make us recommendations in regard to the modalities to be followed across India. We're not only talking of the R.G. Kar Medical College and Hospital, but modalities to be followed all over the country for ensuring safety at the workplace first and foremost. Really earnestly appeal to all the doctors that we are here to ensure that their safety and protection is a matter of the highest national concern.
Who is the first informed to launch the FIR? We would also like to know the time of the registration of the
The first UD case was done by the police on its own.
So that is not an FIR. Who lodged the FIR?
First, the father of the deceased, the vice principal of the hospital.
This is registered at what time?
11:45 p.m.
The body is handed over to the parents for cremation at 8:30 p.m. The FIR is registered at 11:45 p.m. 3 hours and 15 minutes after the body is handed over to the parents for cremation.
They say, we are in shock. Please do whatever you want to do. They wanted a postmortem. We did the postmortem. All is videographed. Everything is videographed.
Nobody in the hospital registers the FIR.
No.
The father registers the, what was the principal or the vice principal? What were the authorities of the hospital doing?
They wanted a board. We constituted a board. They wanted a magistrate. We got the
You
magistrate.
don't need
They
that
realized
time
that
for
what has
registration
been
of
the
FIR.
principality of-
You don't need a medical board for
They are-
registration of FIR.
For one thing, Mr. Sibal, we are very, very concerned. Let not the power of the state of West Bengal be unleashed on peaceful protesters. People, whether they are doctors, civil society, lawyers, people who are protesting, so long as there is no act of destruction.
What happens is political parties get into the act and this is what happens.
A court-monitored investigation of the crime and the conduct of the hospital authorities, including the role of the principal of the medical college and other officials by a special team of investigating officers. The state government was expected to ensure the deployment of the state machinery to prevent a breach of law and order. It was all the more necessary to do so since investigation of the crime which took place in the precincts of the hospital was underway. We are unable to comprehend how the state was not prepared to deal with the incident of vandalization of the premises of the hospital. Nationwide protests following the brutal incident in RG Kar Medical College Hospital have brought the issue of the lack of institutional safety for doctors to the forefront, providing an enforceable national protocol for dignified and safe working conditions for interns, residents, senior residents, doctors, nurses, and all medical professionals. CCTV cameras at all entrance and exit points of the hospitals and the corridors leading up to all patient rooms. Unrestricted access to every part of healthcare institutions has made healthcare professionals susceptible to violence. They are portents of a systemic failure to protect doctors, nurses, and paramedical staff in the confines of hospitals. With few or no protective systems to ensure their safety, medical professionals have become vulnerable to violence. Women are at particular risk of sexual and non-sexual violence in these settings. Due to ingrained patriarchal attitudes and biases, relatives of patients are more likely to challenge women medical professionals. In addition to this, female medical professionals also face different forms of sexual violence at the workplace by colleagues, seniors, and persons in authority. While gendered violence is the source of more malevolent manifestations of the structural deficiencies in public health institutions, the lack of safety is of concern to all medical professionals. Preserving safe conditions of work is central to realizing equality of opportunity to every working professional. This is not just a matter of protecting doctors. Their safety and well-being as health providers is a matter of national interest. The nation cannot await another rape or murder for real changes on the ground.